back on the Morning Brew with Friends with my friend Jill. This is great to have you on.
Thanks.
Because you are the marketing director at the Storehouse of New Mexico.
Absolutely.
And this is a big time of year for you guys, isn't it?
It is. A lot of people think about all the celebrations they have during the holidays and how they surround food, and it just brings to mind the number of people in our community that don't have food. And so that's our biggest time usually of giving, and the most calls we get for volunteers. I mean, we need people year-round, but people think about it this time of year.
This is when we remember.
Right.
Yeah. I know that summertime is one of the big times when you need more volunteers, right?
Well, yeah, and actually we need volunteers year-round. We have very few staff members at the Storehouse, and so we're largely volunteer-driven. We have a lot, we have some ongoing volunteers, but we need volunteers that can just come and help people select food, move people through the line, do processes, kind of help people get the food that they need, load it in their car, get it to the bus, and or just to do food drives in their own business or their own, place of worship.
Wherever they need, wherever they can.
Yeah, wherever they can. We've had people come help us, fix our website. We've had all that. We can use whatever skill set people bring to us.
And it's real super easy to volunteer with you guys, right?
Absolutely.
You can just basically show up in many ways, right?
You can. A lot of places want to know in advance and stuff, and we do want to know in advance if you're bringing a big group, so we can be sure to have a really meaningful project for you to work on. But anyone can just kind of come in and volunteer any of the days that we're open. So
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's Wednesday through Saturday, and so if you just want to come on a Saturday morning and say, you know what, show up at 9 and I'm going to come volunteer for a few hours, you can literally walk in and get an assignment and have something to do.
That's great. I know you guys are just down the street from us, really, here at Central and Broadway, right?
Right.
And I see people lining up super early in the morning. What time do you guys start serving?
We actually open at 9, but people start lining up to get food like at 6 a.m.
Wow.
And it's really shocking sometimes the numbers of people out there. Some days we have as many as 400 people out there waiting to get food.
Wow.
And I think it really speaks to the number of people going hungry here in the state of New Mexico. It's real. I mean, we are the worst. We're ranked the worst for childhood hunger in our nation, and second in the nation for adult hunger. And I think sometimes, those of us that are lucky enough to be, having the discussion with our loved ones about what do you guys want to eat for dinner, where should we go, should we get takeout, should we make something, there's a whole ton of people in our community that are just wondering if they are going to have anything to eat.
Yeah.
Nearly 20%.
Well, I know that one of the big things you're talking about childhood hunger, one of the big things is baby food.
Baby food. That's the shelf that's most often empty at the Storehouse. It costs us about $3,000 a month just to fill that shelf regularly. We have a lot of infants that come. We, of course, have a lot of single moms in our community, a lot of teen parents, and a lot of those girls, it makes me so sad when I'm there, and sometimes I'll ask, like, can I take a picture of you and your child, like, for Facebook? And they're like, I don't want to be the face of hunger. My parents kicked me out when I got pregnant, and I'm, I'm barely making ends meet. I don't want them to know I'm down here getting food, and so it's really difficult to hear those situations. But the reality is that baby food's expensive, as is formula, and it's kind of a necessity for people that are, have children in daycare, and that's all expensive stuff, and children need to be fed.
And those are some of the, so if you have baby food lying around, or if you want to help support the Storehouse, baby food is a critical need.
It is a very critical need. It's always something that we're out of. The other thing great to give, a lot of people just think, canned foods is the only thing we can get. But what we really, a lot of times what we need and that people can make last a long time are things that, when we were in our 20s and barely making ends meet, the things that would make a lot of meals, like
ramen,
right? Talk about ramen, yeah. But things like with protein, especially like a jar of peanut butter will make a lot of meals. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. You have a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter. You have a meal for a week,
a couple of days. Yeah,
right? You can make it stretch, and you can eat it a lot. So those kind of protein sources like peanut butter, tuna, canned stews. Something really hearty that people can actually, eat as a meal are really valuable gifts to us.
Right. Yeah. Not just a can of corn.
Right.
You guys also take clothing.
We do take clothing. A lot of people that come to us don't have the money to get their clothing and food, and then if we can give them clothing then it allows them to spend a little bit more money on their groceries. Right?
What about
in real life.
financial donations?
That's fantastic. We can actually spend, like we buy food wholesale and in bulk. So and when you buy like a gigantic bag of pinto beans, obviously it's a much better deal than getting the
Get the
little
Costco,
cans.
yeah.
Right. We buy these bags of beans that weigh like 80 pounds. In fact, that's something that group volunteers do for us sometimes is they take those gigantic bags of cereal or beans or whatever, and they repack them into small bags for families, family size. So that's something that they repackage food. But yeah, we can get about 10 times the amount of groceries that people can in the grocery store. So your financial contributions to the Storehouse go a long, long way.
They go
us.
further even than a
way
donation.
further. Definitely,
That's cool.
Definitely, and that allows us to fill in what we happen to need that month, whether it's baby food, whether it's peanut butter, beans,
But then anybody can start a food drive at their office, at their place of worship, at wherever they need to be, right?
Right, and we're really blessed to have a lot of businesses. We have hundreds of barrels, and they're out all over the city on a regular basis. And then we do post for people that do it. Like I just did a post this week on our Facebook page about one of the brew pubs that have. I almost lost it. Who sells elevated IPA?
Oh, that would be the Cumbre.
The Cumbre has a food pantry, has a food drive going for us right now. So if you happen to be going to have a local beer,
don't leave beer in it. Leave food in it.
Right, of course. But if you're going there with your friends to have an elevated IPA, they have great beer there, and they're great folks. But they're having a food drive for us right now.
Bring a couple of cans, drop them in the bin.
Right, as is Defined Fitness. But if you want to, as a business, have a food drive for us, all you have to do is call the Storehouse, and they will arrange to get a bin out to you. They'll come pick it up when it's full. Whenever you call and say, "Hey, we're done. We have, it's full. Everybody's there." And people can put in clothing. They can put in any non-perishable food, and so it's great when people do that for us. And then we promote those food drives on our Facebook page too.
Excellent. You give me some numbers here though that are pretty interesting because the age breakdown is kind of shocking. About a third of everybody you serve is under the age of 17?
That's right. We have that goes back to the fact that we're the worst in the nation for childhood hunger. I mean, when we have over 23,000 children come into the Storehouse every year, that's a big chunk of the 3 million meals we're giving out. And as I was talking to you off camera, the key thing, I think, in New Mexico is that we have so many children going hungry. When you go hungry from when you're small, I don't think people understand that if you don't eat well when you're little, you don't have the right nutrition, that changes the whole trajectory of your life. I mean, really, you never are going to be as smart as you may have been. You're never going to be as physically strong, mentally strong, and it really changes where your life turns out. And I think that is the key.
Food is critical.
Food is critical, and I think, actually making sure that all of our children have food should be a major initiative in our community, because if we don't, that continues that cycle of poverty because they'll never have the earning potential that they might have. And we have people that are sort of down and out or barely making ends meet. A lot of the people that we meet are working poor. And it's like have to have a major car repair, and your family doesn't have grocery money this month. And then they can just come to the Storehouse and get groceries and come pick things for their family. But it's so, so important in our community.
Right. Storehouse.org, is that right?
It's the StorehouseABQ.org. Yeah.
Great.
You got to put the word the in front.
The in front.
And ABQ. We're right here in Albuquerque.
All right. Next time I'm having a beer over at the La Cumbre, I'll bring a couple of cans.
Perfect.
Sounds
baby
like a plan.
Food,
and baby food.
Perfect.
We'll be back in a couple of seconds in the Morning Brew with Friends. We're going to talk to the folks from Albuquerque Little Theaters. Christmas Carol. Should be fun on the Morning Brew.
Let it snow and snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out.